Hey creator, and welcome back to a new video. And in this video I'm gonna be talking about my 2024 knitting goals and intentions. So let's take a look at what I want to make this year. Welcome if you're new here, and welcome back if you have been a regular viewer. Thank you so much. I appreciate you all so much for watching. I am Fem. I'm the face behind the Mindful Creators. I have an online community group for knitters, crocheters from all around the world, and I'm a yarn dyer. And I also like to make videos on YouTube here that are a bit more personal about what I want to make in the year, and I just really like to let my creativity loose in these videos. So this video, as I already said, we're going to be talking about my 2024 knitting goals and intentions. And I know it's already mid-February. It's a little late, but I was just thinking about it. I was like, yeah, why not? Why not just still talk about it? But sometimes you need a little bit more time to think about what you want to make in a year. What is good to know in this video, I'm going to talk about some goals, but I am not going to push myself into having to make these pieces or having to have them at the end of the year. That's not good English, but you know what I mean probably. So I'm I like to be a spontaneous knitter. I have a lot of whips always. I really knit for my pleasure, and it really is my hobby, and it's really my downtime. So I don't like to put deadlines on that, but I do like to get some inspiration. And for me, this video truly is inspiration. So I have a few goals, a few things of which I'm really sure of I will be doing this year, but they are quite loose, and you will see that in a second. I made some mood boards also for all these goals, and I'm going to be putting them up on the side. So I'm going to go to the side a little bit before we start. In these mood boards, you will see some visualization of the goals that I have, or some really specific things even, and we're going to go through them together. I have my laptop down here, by the way, so if I'm looking down sometimes you know why. I have 5 pretty specific but also quite free goals, and we're going to go through them together. First, before we start, because I know some people probably will ask it, I am wearing the September sweater today by Petite Knit. It is heavily modified. It doesn't look like the normal pattern. This was my first ever sweater that I knit. I have been knitting for a year and a half by now, and I really started getting into it last year, so 2023. And this was my first ever sweater that I finished at the beginning of 2023. It's in brioche, and it's in drops air. It's really soft, but it does peel a lot, so keep that in mind if you want to use that yarn. And that's, I think, everything. And now we can really start. So let's get into goal number 1. Goal number 1 for me has to do with sock knitting. And I know a lot of people are like, okay, I love knitting socks, or I hate knitting socks, or I've never done it. I feel like, yeah, some people are in between, of course, but I feel like that's, for a lot of the times, that's it. But I do like knitting socks. I even have a pair that I can show here. Let me grab them in a second. This is, for example, my newest sock that I've knit, and it is actually in my own pattern. I am not a designer. This is my first ever pattern. It's a free pattern, so if you want to match with me, I will link it below. But I do enjoy sock knitting. I went down a needle, and it's looking even neater now. I've made in total, I think, this one is not finished, so I'm not counting it. I think in total I've made 6 pairs, of which probably 5 last year. My goal for this year is to knit 6 pairs of socks. So every 2 months I want to have finished 1 pair of socks. I wear the socks, but also my boyfriend loves wearing them. We truly wear them a lot. But I do feel like the pairs that I have now, some of them are getting a little older. The yarn some are not even a year old, but some yarn choices that I made are not the best for those socks. But yeah, we do really enjoy them and really wear them a lot. So I will show you some of the sock patterns that I have in mind, because this is really specific pattern wise. Not saying that I will make all of these, but these are patterns that I really enjoy. I like the look of. I'm just gonna say the names, and I will link them below so you can find them there. So as you can see here, there's quite a different kind of bunch of patterns in here. I like textures in sock. I like a little bit of interest. I do also knit a vanilla sock. This for me is the most vanilla it will get probably. I might do a fully vanilla, but I do like a little bit of interest in my socks. So color work, a little bit of a cable or lace. So you can see that back in these socks that I have here. And a few of them are actually from 52 Weeks of Socks, volume 1. So the sock book from Lene. That is because I do have that book, and I do want to knit at least 2 pairs this year of that book. And I think that's really doable. I just want to use those patterns too. I have them, I have the book, so why not? A lot of the patterns that you are seeing in here, or in here by the way for you, are also free patterns. I am pretty sure I think almost all of them except the 52 weeks of socks. So the Grampian Peaks, Thorsminde, Intersections, Brunostsokken, yeah. Those are free, and the Petal drop socks by handmade by Florence has a free option. Then the Hollingbourne, Unity and Gerste are from 52 weeks of socks. So this is just a little bit of an overview of some things that I like to make, and I like putting them together because I was really, okay, these are socks that I enjoy looking at, so I can put them in a list and make them probably this year. Still, again, if I find another sock pattern, I will make something else too. But 6 socks a year this year, I think that's really doable. And as I just said, I don't like to put deadlines or stuff on myself, but this is really doable for me. I just got interrupted for a second. But what I was saying is that 1 pair every 2 months, so 6 pairs of socks in a year is really doable. I have some yarn already that I want to use for socks that I quickly want to show you. Because I do have quite a bit of sock yarn. I have used Drops North before, which I still have a lot of. Am I gonna use that for socks? Maybe. Just as I said, I'm also a spontaneous knitter, so I also like to cast on spontaneously, and I have that yarn for it. Some other yarn that I want to be using is Arvetta, Vulcanana Arvetta. I bought this in Copenhagen. It's really soft. I love the colors. This is like a super deep blue and a really nice mossy foresty green. I have some yarn that I got gifted from a friend of mine a little while ago, and this is from 6 and 7 Fibers. It's their alfalfa base and their Penelope color, if I'm correct. But it's been a while. This has been frogged 2 times already, and now it's just gonna become socks, which I'm gonna love a lot. I have some more hand-dyed yarn that I dyed myself. This was a collaboration with the Yarn Addict Co, which is now the Little Fiber Co, if I'm correct. I still have to remember her name correctly, but we did a collaboration. This was my version. And I also have some DK weight sock yarn, which I really like. I got this from a friend also during our Advent swap. And those are just a few of the sock yarns that I have. I also like to make socks sometimes with my own hand-dyed yarn. So the socks that I showed you, this is with my own hand-dyed yarn for a Valentine's sock set, build your own. At the moment there are still sets available, so I will link below if you want to take a look. And that was goal number 1. So let's go on to goal number 2, which is to knit something with texture or cables or lace. So as I said, I want to knit something with a bit more texture. So what I'm wearing now is already very textured, but the second sweater I ever started, which I frogged, was the Arctic Light sweater, which you can see on the mood board here. And I still love the look of that. I love the Salty Days. Is it Salty Days? Yeah, Salty Days sweater, which is also on here. Other examples are the Storm sweater by Petite Knit. The other ones are by Kotova Kika, by the way. The Storm sweater by Petite Knit, or the Busan sweater, which I'm not sure of who the designer is from, but again, I will link them below. Those are really nice and fun. Some of them are a little bit more fun, some of them are a little bit more elegant, I think, as the Busan sweater is, for example. They're just really beautiful sweaters. One of the reasons I would like to knit something with a little more texture or a lace or a cable, something like that, is I haven't really done that before. So this is of course very textured, but for the rest, I'm pretty sure I haven't done a cable or anything. I have done it in socks before, and I just really like the look of it. So that's something that is on my list. And again, I put here a few of these patterns on here, but those are, like, if I don't make those, if it's something else, that's also totally fine, because this is such a broad goal. The texture in general is just what I want to make. Yarn wise, I don't really know yet what I'm gonna want to be making it with, but for example, for cables, it would be nice to use a non-superwash, and I'm actually planning on putting a Peruvian Highland wool in the shop, which I think will be perfect for cables or texture, anything like that. So I'm pretty sure, if it all goes like I want to, and dyeing yarn wise too, by the way, I'm gonna make it probably in that yarn base. Let's go on to goal number 3, which is a little bit more specific, to be honest. This is a goal towards a specific kind of sweater that I have in mind, which is this gray oversized sweater. And it's funny because it's gonna contradict with another goal that I'm gonna show you in a little bit. But I've been seeing these gray sweaters on different kinds of places, and I do really like the look of it. And normally, like I said it a little while ago, I want to knit more with color. So this is pretty colorful. This is like a sea green, I think they call it. I do knit with color, but I feel like sometimes it can be more colorful. But I'm also attracted to this gray sweater, and there's a little bit of an extra reason why I got there, because let me grab it for a second. My friend Claudia from Claudia Knits, she gifted me, or yeah, she was destashing some yarn, and she was like, would you like to have this? It doesn't really make me happy, this color. And I was like, yeah, let me see what I can do with it. And it is this gray mix of drops Puna. This is the drops Puna and the drops brushed alpaca silk. And I was like, let me see what I can do with this. And because I have this gray yarn and I've been seeing that gray sweater everywhere, I was like, this could be really fun. So I already made a little bit of a gauge swatch, and I will go into the mood board in a second also. So this is a swatch that I made. This is on 5mm needles. It is really nice and soft, quite thick. And I'm not sure yet if I want to hold it together or if I maybe just only want to hold the drops Puno. Is it Puno? Puna? I don't really know if I'm saying the correct base. If I'm not saying the correct base, I'll put it in this on the screen here. But I'm not sure yet if I want to have it like this. So if you can see here in the mood board, I have a few different types of gray, also the gray sweater, and also one sweater in specific that I put on here. So for example, you can see the outfits of the people. Some of them are more oversized, some of them are a little bit less oversized, but I do like the really plain sweater that has a little bit of oversizedness to it. I don't like the sleeves to be super wide, so as you see in the top right for you, I think. That's not my preferred style, but I do like them to be a little bit more tapered. And one pattern that already came to mind for me was the Stockholm sweater by Petite Knit. I think it is a really classic sweater, and it feels, for what I've been looking for, it feels the most similar to the kind of style that I have seen around and that I really like for this type of sweater. So not saying that I will be making that one eventually. Maybe I will even try to work something up myself, not sure yet. But I do feel like the Stockholm sweater is coming the closest to the other. So you can see it in the middle. I also found a version of someone made it in gray, and I think it comes closest to the style and look that I'm going for. I think it's just a really good staple, also with some lighter jeans, some lighter blue jeans. So not like super light, but just a little lighter. I think it really matches well. It can have a really classic look, but also a bit more comfort of how you say it. Comfy, casual look. I just like the look of it. So I might be making them one this year, but I'm not sure yet how and with which yarn. So let me show this one. This is I have a really yellow light on the side, so it definitely makes it more a grayish, which the brushed alpaca silk does look a little bit more like a beige, grayish color. So I might eventually just decide to hold this one on its own. Let me just see if it will focus. And I have enough for definitely have a sweater's quantity. So yeah, that was something really specific that I found that I really like the look of. So let's talk a little bit about this, because I sometimes feel when I see some sweaters patterns, I really love a lot of them, and sometimes I'm like, okay, but do I really love it, or do I think it will only be really fun to make, and if I ever see it in the store I would never buy it? Let me know if you also experience this sometimes or feel like this, because I do feel sometimes I'm like, ooh, I love that, but wearing wise it might not even be my style. But this is something that I know will look great with a lot of outfits. It's just a really classic design, so it will last me many years. Okay, let's go to the complete opposite side, because one of my other goals this year is to knit with more color, as you probably imagined. So yeah, it's funny that I found the gray sweater, but that's just something really specific fit-wise, color-wise, that I found and can put together. But I do want to knit with more color, and I have some examples here for you. So as you can see here, there are some pretty bright colors in here, and I think one of the ones that does pop already is the blue, because I love blue. I love blue and green. Those are definitely my favorite colors. Does it always suit me best? For example, this color, I'm not sure if this is my most flattering color. I did a color analysis this summer. It was actually when I was on vacation and they did those analysis, and they told me that I am a soft autumn, but I might be a little bit more a true autumn. So I will put up some colors here, and I know a lot of them are a lot more neutral and they're really beautiful, but this goal is specific about colors like really colorful colors. I'm not sure if like the blue is on there. I do think the red will be a good one. A little bit of a warmer red, and also maybe the orange would be, so if you see the, hopefully I'm already back at the mood board, but in the mood board there's this really bright orange color. I think that could look nice. So I love blue and green, but I want to see what kind of colors speak to me and what I would like. So I am already making something pretty colorful at the moment. I am using some hand-dyed yarn from myself that I dyed myself, which I haven't launched yet. But as I said in my last podcast, I'm not gonna say where it's gonna be at, but I did want to show because I'm working with it so much in the coming months. So this is more a bit of a spring kind of color. Since the lady that I did a color analysis with said I'm a soft autumn, soft spring also falls into that palette apparently. And this is a cardigan. That was my glass, sorry. A cardigan that I've been working on, and I think it's really a fun color. Again, does it suit me the best? I'm not sure, but it makes me happy. And I think that is super important, that the colors that you're working with really make you happy. And that is one of the reasons why I want to knit with colorful colors and also wearing wise. So for example, I have a really beautiful Monday sweater that I made, my second sweater ever that I finished. And it is in a bit of a white with a gray little accent in there, hand-dyed yarn. But I see that I don't really gravitate towards that much anymore. I think it was a really safe choice. It was my first ever hand-dyed yarn project. I bought it from Upmetska, which is an amazing dyer, by the way, from Lithuania. And it's really beautiful. It really is. It doesn't really make me super happy when I look at it. And that's something I really want. I want the clothes to speak to me when I'm gonna pick out my outfit for the day, if you get what I mean. So again, here are some examples. One of the sweaters in specific that I chose is I really hope I'm gonna pronounce this right. It's Luger. Something like that. It's a really fun color work. It's actually a free pattern if I'm correct. I'm pretty sure it is a free pattern. And I love the combination of the white with the orange. So that is really beautiful. It has some bell sleeves, oh no, not bell sleeves, balloon sleeves, which I also really love. And the Whitmore cardigan, which I was really close to casting on with the other yarn. But I eventually chose this cardigan for our make along in the clubhouse. But the Whitmore, for example, in a color like this, and like a really beautiful red, is really speaking to me. But you can see some other colors in here. I put some Cézanne sweaters in there because I've never bought something at Cézanne, but I do really love the look of their sweaters, and I've seen them in real life, and it's just really fun. So I do see myself making some color work. I have a really deep hunter green, some really royal blue, which I really, really love, and then the orange too. And we'll see what colors I eventually pick. But I think this is a good start for inspiration. I noticed that I'm definitely a lot into the sweaters in this whole video. I think it's also the time of year, of course. At the moment, I'm mostly wearing sweaters still. When I'm getting more in spring, I want to say fall, but in spring and summer, it will be more tops and everything. But I do get the most joy out of sweaters. So that's probably why there are a lot of sweaters in here. I think if I would do this video in the summertime, it would be very different. Something else I want to work on this year and I really would like to have is a festive sweater. So a little bit of a Christmas sweater, festive sweater in general. And I will pop up the mood board right now. And you can see some examples. And here I'm pretty specific already. I'm pretty set on what I want to make. And first place, that would be the holly sweater by Knitting for Olszeth. I really love the look because it's quite subtle, festive. I've been in the Knitting for Olszeth store in Copenhagen. I was able to see the sweater in real life and I love it even more. So if I have to pick one festive sweater that I want to make and want to wear, which I also think I want to wear many years to come, I think it will be the holly sweater. The construction looks nice, the color work is really beautiful, and it's subtle, as I said. So this is really high on my list. I hope to make it this year, and when I'm gonna start, I have no idea. Might even want to make a little make along it for the clubhouse, but that's really far in the future still. Something else that I've seen this year at Those Twins Who Knit, which are also podcasters, I really love their videos, is the festive yoke pullover. And I literally grabbed the screenshot out of their video of her wearing it because I couldn't find a picture anywhere else, and I really love her way that she made this pattern. So the festive yoke pullover can be made in many different ways, pattern, like color work pattern wise. So what she did here is just work the color work from, yeah, what is it, only in the yoke, and I think maybe a little bit until splitting for sleeve, or she stopped. No, I think she stopped right before splitting for sleeves, and I do really love this version. Though there's also like the original version is fully color work from neck to waist to shoulder to cuff, which is really fun too, but I think this is more my style. And I also see myself making something like that. If I really want to combine the color work with the festive sweater, maybe that one eventually. As I said, for the rest, those are really the specific ones that I have in mind. But as you can see here, for example, the red cabled does really feel very festive. And it's also, you're also able to wear it longer in the year. Of course you can wear those others all year round. But I think for me, the red cable, for example, does feel a little bit less festive for when it isn't Christmas season, which I celebrate. But yeah, I do see myself making the holly sweater before I would make a red cabled sweater. We have arrived at my last goal, and this is a pretty big goal, which I'm not sure if I will be finishing this year. I probably am starting it this year. But it is to make a blanket, and I have some examples here for you. Some blankets that I have in mind is the Sweet Shop blanket. That is actually the only one specific that I have in mind, but the Sweet Shop blanket. You can also see that I put the Stella quilt cushion in here. Those patterns are both from Penrose Knit. Yeah, I really love both of them. I also wanted to put the cushion in because I don't really have a goal to make a lot of homeware. It's not something that really fits. We have a small apartment. It's full enough already. I also do not need a new blanket, but I just really want to make a blanket. But the cushion is really beautiful, so the pillow I would really make the cushion cover, or pillow cover. But the Sweet Shop blanket is really high on my list. It's so funny because in the beginning when it came out, I think a lot of people had like, oh, but it's a pretty simple blanket. I'm not sure if I will make it, but having seen so many more versions of it, and also realizing the thought that went into it and making it, so my friend is making it right now, and she explained a little bit to me like what she's doing and how it's working. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool actually, and I think that's really fun to knit. My friend Claudia again. Claudia and I are influencing each other non-stop, so if you want to, that's maybe fun to know. If you want to see patterns similar to what I make but in a totally different way, follow Claudia. Back to the video. The Sweet Shop blanket is definitely on my list. I am thinking about making it with advent yarn, but I'm not 100% sure yet. It could be something really different because I will be doing my first yarn advent this year. I will probably be releasing it somewhere in May, I think. I'm not sure yet, maybe June. It's really not something I'm working on right now, but it's something that I know I will be doing, and I might want to make the Sweet Shop blanket with it. I also do have a lot of a lot of scrap yarn, mostly from swatching, because I do swatch for all my collections. That could also be great in a blanket because they are I try to swatch mostly with the sock yarn, so I can make socks with it eventually if I keep all the leftovers from the swatching, which sometimes is like 80 grams, and I also do sell them on the website sometimes. But what I have left over will be great for a blanket like this, and I think it will be really fun and also pretty special because it will be my own yarn and everything. But yeah, it is a very big project. As I said, I do think I'm going to be casting a blanket on this year. I do already have the northeasterly blanket on my needles, but I don't know, I'm not sure about it. It is really chaotic, and I said when I was starting that one, I was like, it's okay if it's ugly, really all the colors together, it's okay, but it's not making me, again, the happiest when I look at it. And again, that's also part of the intention. I want to work on things that make me happy. Like I can power through something if I'm not the most happy about it, but I know it's a short project and I will love the end result. But if I don't love making it, and definitely for a blanket, you know, you're gonna use it one way, for me mostly, is on the couch to snuggle on there. And it will be fun to look at it and be like, oh my god, I love also the look of it. And I think with the Sweet Shop blanket, it's really nice that you have a main color and then all the contrasting minis in this case. So yeah, we'll see what eventually happens if I will do this blanket, or maybe even, again, maybe I'll try to design something myself. I'm not sure yet, but I do really want to use all the leftover hand-dyed yarn that I have from collections and from projects, also from other dyers that I have for a blanket. So those were the like super specific and also a little bit more open goals that I have for this year. And as I said, if I don't make these things, it's also okay. So for me, really, knitting is truly just my downtime, my relaxing time. I need to feel inspired by it. So sometimes I have like 6 projects on the needles. I'm like, I need something new. I will make something new. Sometimes I make something new, as in I cast something on super spontaneously and won't really finish it. But if I had fun making it, for me, that's also a win. So yeah, keep that in mind when you're knitting the next time. Why do you knit? What makes you happy? What works for you? For me, this really works. I still have like 6 projects on the needles probably. I do feel like I want to have not too many sweaters on the needles at the same time. I have 4 sweaters on the needles at the time, of which one a cardigan, and for me that's a little bit too much, but it came to be that way with the make long, and I'm working on something that I really want to finish right now, and something else I was really excited about casting on. But for me, that is also, it's not necessarily a goal. Like if I don't make it, I'm gonna be sad about it, but I would like to have maybe 2 sweaters maximum at the same time on my needles, or maximum 3, but preferably 2. Then a pair of socks and something else small maybe. So 4 projects, 4 whips at the same time would be, I think, a nice in between, because I don't also know that I can cast something on if I really want to. So yeah, I'm really curious, how many whips do you prefer? What do you like to have? Are you a monogamous knitter? I sometimes have spurts that I knit a bit more monogamously on something. So, or 2 projects. I think I do always have a lot of whips, but like my focus whips, most of the times that is 2 whips at the same time. So yeah, I hope this video really inspires you too. I'd love to know what your goals are for this year. Do you have specific goals? Are you a monogamous knitter even maybe? So let me know below. I'd love to chat with you in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like a little thumbs up. And if you want, you can follow me here. I also make pattern related videos, so I like to put pattern recaps, for example, inspiration. I post knitting podcasts and everything that comes on my path that I think is fun to film. So I hope you follow me here, because I love to grow this community with you all. And thank you for watching. So I will see you in the next one. Bye, creator. I have a little guest with me here today. Come here. Hey. This is Marley, and Marley is with me today. And she's very happy to be here. Yeah.